On this episode, we're counting down our favorite Walt Disney World catchphrases, those iconic lines, safety spiels, and magical quotes that have become as legendary as the attractions themselves. Today's July 22nd, 2025, and this is episode 791 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Well, a big, giant happy birthday to everyone that has a birthday on today, July 20th, but especially our baby. Our little baby now is 15 years old.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. She will get her permit tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to record before we go shopping again because she likes to do that when she has money.
And happy birthday to you, Rhonda.
Oh,
Your birthday
thank
is
you.
tomorrow, the 21st.
That's right.
So yeah, it's kind of a weekend celebration for the both of you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice brunch.
Yes.
Roosevelt Room in St. Augustine. If you've never been, is amazing.
So
it
good.
would. Okay, where would you rather go for brunch? Chef Art Smith's Homecoming or Roosevelt Room? Food only. Like, because obviously I'd rather go to Homecoming simply because it's at Disney, but like food-wise,
I don't know. That's
run
hard.
for his money, right?
Yeah.
Art Smith should look out there.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know, man.
really good.
You might want to get their biscuit recipe. So today is going to be hopefully kind of a fun one. We love to do kind of these like top ones or countdowns or whatever.
Yeah, they're
especially
fun.
when we get some sound involved. So you will get to hear some sound clips as we go through. I guess these will really be like our favorite catchphrases in rides. They could be part of the pre-show, part of the queue. They could be part of the actual ride or attraction, right? And we're going to do 3 from each of the 4 parks. But first, we do have an honorable mention that I think we have to bring up. And what is that?
That is the Monorail. I'm gonna try it. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténgase alejando de... Yeah, I'm not good at that.
Well, luckily, we've got a sound clip.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Everybody knows this one.
Yes.
I mean, you've got shirts that have this on it. Like,
That's
this is, I think this is one of the most famous catchphrases. And what's cool, so the Walt Disney World monorail system, if you didn't know, we'll go over a little trivia. Some of these things you'll know, some you might not. It's one of the longest operating monorail systems in the world. It's got a 14.7 mile like path, basically. It's how far they go.
Wow.
So I don't know what I was looking at one thing that said it can, it's over 100,000 guests a day. Like that ride it.
Wow.
So kind of crazy.
Does it have miles on it like a car? Like,
I'm sure there's
I mean,
something.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's like your truck has
Yeah,
reached
an
100,000
odometer.
miles. Yeah.
This thing, I would love to know how far it's traveled. I mean,
Because it's been open since the beginning, correct? Or no? I don't remember.
yeah. So you got to think.
And then you've got the one in Disneyland that's been open longer,
Yeah.
but that's not, to me, a real one.
Well, it's a real one. It's just not ours. Ours is a million times better, I feel like. But but I would love to know the math behind how far it's actually traveled. Mm-hmm. Just in general. Obviously, you've upgraded trains and refurbed trains and all that type of thing. But in general, it's one of those like how many passengers have ridden on the Walt Disney World specific monorail since it opened, and how many miles has it gone?
Would you think it'd be in the passengers? Do you think it'd be in the billion? Do you think it could be in the billions?
I mean, if you wanted to get real rough, and there was 100,000 people a day, right? And it's been open now.
I mean, it's open 24/7.
Yeah,
It's
right.
it never closes.
Right. Yeah.
Except at night. So, I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Think it never closes, and the only time it closes is obviously if there's a major hurricane coming through, and they have to for safety reasons. But other than that, and then of course it did when it was COVID. But yeah, I mean, normally it never closes.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So if it took 100,000 guests a day on average, and it's been running for over 19,000 days, I don't know what this means on the calculator. I guess it's so many numbers that it won't even put them, because it's 1.9 E9, whatever that translates to. So that's what my iPhone calculator actually brought up. So a lot is what it's saying. But let's move on to Animal Kingdom. And what is our first ride? Very, very classic here.
That is Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Before I let you guys go, I do want to teach you 2 last sayings that we say here in Harambe. The first thing is kwaherini. We don't like to say goodbye because that sounds a bit sad, and it also sounds far too final. So instead of goodbye, we like to say kwaherini. Kwaherini means to go well.
So did you know that the savannah is so large it could fit the entire Magic Kingdom inside it twice?
You mean at Animal Kingdom?
Yeah.
That savannah that
Just
we
the savannah.
ride through.
Could fit 2 Magic Kingdoms. Because remember, Magic Kingdom really isn't that big
moly.
area-wise. You know, it's just got so much packed into that area. Yeah, and when you think about that, I mean, it's over 100 acres. So, and you've got to think, too, that there's barriers, there's areas that animals are that we don't see. So when you really think, I mean, go to a Google map and look up Animal Kingdom and look down upon it about how giant this portion of the park is. It's insane.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the ride, and I love that, like, Kwaharini.
Yeah, that, you know, I mean, I feel like that Kwaharini and Jumbo, of course, you know, is one that you can hear all throughout Animal Kingdom Park, Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah.
You know, do you remember, because I don't know, I'm trying to think of when I would have been at Animal Kingdom when I was younger. Do you remember when it first opened and it had the separate storyline that was all about poaching, and it had you were on the hunt for Little Red?
I do not.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't think I ever rode this. I don't know when. I'm trying to think, because this opened.
I would have been very young, but I just don't remember, like, my parents, like, saying, like,
You would have
oh,
been
it's
an adult.
me.
You would have been an adult. This opened in 98. So you would have been 18, 19 years old.
Shh. No.
Which is
In
why
my
I don't
brain,
think
I was young.
That's why I don't think I ever rode it, because I wouldn't have during my childhood. And when I went for my senior class spring break trip, we actually went to Disney. It would have been a year prior to Animal Kingdom opening.
I feel like I
park,
probably
so,
did.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But
it,
I
though,
just don't
if I
remember being, because I would think Little Red, that's me.
Yeah.
So, but I don't.
Well, let's move on down the road a little bit on the other side of the park. Let's go ahead and celebrate it while we still have it.
Aww.
What is next?
Dinosaur.
And don't worry about that asteroid. You'll be in and out of there before it even breaks the atmosphere. Trust me. What could go wrong?
This one is probably my favorite one because of the memories that I have from Kaylin learning it pretty much. And then literally every single time mouthing it.
Yeah. Yeah, this pre-show, I think, is one of the most quotable throughout. I mean, when you really... you know, we don't even have all the stuff on here. You know, let's go get that dino. At the end of it, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make... Like, there's so many things that I think... you know, that people will say and quote from out of this. And, you know, of course, it uses the same track layout as Indiana Jones that is over in Disneyland. This was originally called Countdown to Extinction, and that was changed after the release of Disney's Dinosaur movie in 2000, which features an iguanodon. It is a horribly CGI made Disney movie that they then tried to basically rope and, I guess, create an IP around with this. Of course, if you are getting ready to... go off on the ride as soon as you get seated. You'll see printed up on the right is CTX. What is it? AK-98. So it's Countdown to Extinction. Animal Kingdom 1998 when it opened.
That's cool.
So little cool things like that to look for. But I'm sure we'll have plenty of classic catchphrases and lines once Indiana Jones comes in here.
And do you think there'll be like in the ride, like maybe a like nod and maybe
to dinosaur?
Yeah, do you
I'm
think
sure
there'll be
something? It wouldn't surprise me if you see that through a lot of these that are going. I mean, even the Encanto boat ride that they're putting in where Primeval World was, like in all of that Dino-rama and Dino area. It wouldn't be surprising, I think, if there's nods to the old Dino Land throughout. Same thing, I think, when you get over to Magic Kingdom and you've got all of a sudden Piston Peak in there. I guarantee there's going to be nods to Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America, the Liberty Bell, and stuff like that, I would think. So, well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
And they always tie those little things into it. I mean, it's hard to get on a ride that replaced a ride that doesn't have a nod. Even when you go back to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, only caught it recently. There is a poster. It doesn't say the Great Movie Ride, but it's a nod to the Great Movie Ride. I can't remember the exact words on it.
That's
remember?
Cool.
So there's those little nods. Of course, you've got Mr. Toad and Winnie the Pooh handing over the deed to Mr. Owl. So I think there's a lot of little things like that will be throughout, but not, in your face, obviously. Yeah. All right, let's move on to another one. This is one of my favorites, and I don't even need a reason to quote this. I'll just do it.
And that is Flight of Passage.
Your genetic material with the genetic material of one of the avatar bodies that we already have. Once we do that, you'll be able to link to that avatar and fly.
Each ride vehicle on Flight of Passage is individually programmed to simulate different motion patterns for realism. Because when you really think about it, think about Soarin', right? Which is similar in setup, in theory. You're just in a hanging seat, but it is very similar with the screen, the layers and all that.
Right. So you're telling me
technically every seat
is not feeling the same thing.
Well, you're just seeing things from a different angle, whereas this can make sure that based on where you are could be how it moves, how it breathes, because the Banshee that you're on technically would be different in the view and the path that it takes than a Banshee that is on the complete other side, technically 16 Banshees down. You know what I mean? So my guess would be that you could ride 16 times in a row on all 16 different positions, and that's only on one level, and not notice a difference.
Okay.
But it's there. It's just
That's
subtle
cool.
enough, but that's the kind of detail and all, of course, they put in here.
Of course.
Let's talk about David Danapour and Fly. How do you... I've got on my...
I just started to say, I look at him.
Thanks to my friend Omar and you, because you actually bid on it. But it's the picture of David Danapour, who plays that scientist in it, and he signed it. And it says Fly and David Danapour, who I think is outstanding in it. So...
He is funny. It's great. It's a neat pre-show, and I enjoy it. And fun fact too, I think, which we've said it multiple times, I feel like before, but they actually took out a lot of because he said all the time. Yeah,
I'd have to go back and look. They cut seconds, maybe 10, 20, I don't even know, out of it by shortening and cutting out some of those and all and the pauses. I've said that from the very beginning, I think it's so well acted with the and the Fly, because he is not an actor.
Right.
He's not David Danapour playing a scientist. He's supposed to be a scientist, right? So you got to think, you shove a camera in this scientist's face. You've brought all these people in. He's going to be nervous. He's going to be just explaining.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be a little dopey and he plays the part absolutely perfectly.
I think so too.
And what's cool is before something like that, I don't think we had ever seen him in anything. Now we've seen him in multiple things.
I started to say,
one of those being The Good Place. Remember at the end, it was in the last several episodes.
And I think I pointed it out. I was like, isn't he the guy from Dinosaur?
From Flight of Passage.
We're like,
oh my gosh, that is.
Yeah.
So it's neat to see him pop up in other stuff.
Yeah.
Let's move on over to Hollywood Studios. We got some great classic rides here. Let's start with the very first one. And where are we headed?
Tower of Terror.
Because in tonight's episode, you are the star. And this elevator travels directly to the Twilight Zone.
So I think most people know that no two rides are exactly alike. The drop sequence is randomized by a computer system, meaning you truly never know what's coming next.
That's true. I mean, because I do feel like I notice, because I don't wear my patch a lot to Disney World anymore, I notice the difference more than I think anybody.
Of the randomizing? Even if you were to ride multiple times?
Well, first of all, I don't
do
that, but because there's times where I've been like, okay, like it was over before I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then there's times where I'm like, I'm done. And then it's over.
Yeah.
And then there's times where I'm like, I'm done. And it has gone one or two more times where I'm like a little, and then it'll be done. And I'm like, okay, thank God.
That's what I think's so interesting about it, is based on, I think, length of drop, amount. You know, you have some of those short ones that'll then like there's so many different variations that it makes the timing of the ride sometimes feel vastly different.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like it really does. I love when you're right at the end and you're like, all right, that should be it, and then no. And there's one more. I think it's outstanding. Part of the pre-show, and this is coming fresh off of me taking Kaylin and Talon, because I was just feeding them, Disney nerd trivia. Rod Serling, who was the host of Twilight Zone for so many years, that is him and his voice when you see him on screen during the pre-show, and then some parts during the rest. But they basically had to have someone kind of mimic his voice to fill in the spots to make it about Tower of Terror, because he had passed away before this ride came out. So they were able to basically blend together original clips, audio and video from the original Twilight Zone with stuff that they recorded to fit it all together. So, and it's why you don't see him on screen the whole time. I'm going to go way off here, but it'll be interesting to see something like this and how it goes into the future. Because if right now they said we're gonna redo Tower of Terror, and let's just say they weren't gonna change it, they were just gonna redo a bunch of stuff, including the pre-show, you could completely recreate him mind and body with AI. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be interesting to see as we see stuff open, the way that they're able to utilize it. Now, you can't do anything that's ongoing AI because you couldn't keep up with it, but you could create a Rod Serling lookalike to perfection that almost no one would notice if they had to redo the whole pre-show and they wanted his face on screen the whole time, which is crazy. So it'll be neat to see where AI takes a part in theme parks eventually.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, same when you look, I mean, it's very, Smuggler's Run is kind of like that because it reacts in real time.
Right.
In a way, that's a form of it's artificial intelligence that is reacting as you do things.
Wow.
So imagine if that gets built out more with how far they've come. That'll be crazy. But let's go to something else. Speaking of random, what's our next ride?
And that is Star Tours.
You may then unlatch your safety restraints by pressing the release button on your left. Make sure you have all your personal belongings as you exit. Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that has always been, I don't know why, that when the very beginning when she shakes her fingers and it's like, no smoking, and then the end where, and then like when she also changes into Spanish, which is super cool, and then at the end where she's like, bye-bye.
Everybody quotes it. Like, if you've ridden it before at least once, I feel like you quote it. Like half of our Star Speeder, when I took them last weekend, quoted it at the end, the bye-bye part.
That's cool.
It's Allison Janney, who we had done, we did an episode. You have to go back. I don't know what number it is. She's to me, she's one of those actresses that everybody knows, but I've never really known her name. Like you see her face. Yeah. I think she was was she not the main character in that mom sitcom?
Yes,
with,
I believe so.
What's her face?
Yes.
Well, gosh, what's her
Anna,
name? Anna Faris. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been in a ton of stuff. She
or
voices
Anna
that
Faris.
robot. Anna Faris. I think that one's Anna.
I don't remember.
Anyway, so she voices that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And it's just so classic at the end. And it reminds me a lot of, did you ever see, you probably didn't watch SNL growing up the way that I did, just based probably on your upbringing, but
correct.
There was the David Spade skit where he was the airline steward, and when everybody's leaving, he's like, bye-bye, 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 and then, have you ever seen those clips?
I feel like you've shown them to me and they sound familiar.
This is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Thanks for flying with us. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hey, you live here in Pittsburgh?
No, actually, I'm here.
Bye-bye.
It just reminds me of that David Spade clip and him on the airplane there. So this does have randomized destinations, of course, and characters, because you have basically from all of the trilogies, over the past 40-some years, you've got represented. So you have over 100 possible ride combinations, making it a different experience almost every time you ride.
That's amazing because that's so many, and I feel like I've gotten the same ones over and over. Does that make sense?
It does feel that way, because you really, to experience it, obviously you need to go repeatedly during a shorter period of time, in the sense
probably
when they put in the Last Jedi scenes, and I went down on that day that it started and I rode 5 times in a row, I had 5 very different rides.
Right.
But you're right, if you ride 5 times once a month for 5 months, I feel like we get the exact same stuff every time.
I do too.
Like we had when I just went with Kaylin, we hadn't had it forever. It is from is it from The Last Jedi, or was it from Rise of Skywalker? Remember what goes underwater, and there's those big eyeball, it's one of the newer scenes that came with that. And I hadn't seen that probably since it came out.
Huh, okay.
So, which is kind of crazy. All right, we got one more, which again, we're going to celebrate like dinosaur as long as it is there. And I hope that we still hear these words when it gets changed. What are we talking about?
Rock and roller coaster.
Make it a stretch. In fact, make it a super stretch.
Yeah, we were talking recently, and I said something about the Muppets because a guy was like, he just got annual passes, and he was sad. And I was like, well, rock and roller coaster's going to be it. So maybe the Muppets will say, make it a stretch. In fact, make it a super stretch.
I hope so. And I'm sure they'll have nods. Because here's the thing that's going to be interesting about this changing into Muppets Mayhem. Not only do they really need to have nods and pay, homage to Muppets 3D, but they need to rock and roller coaster. You know what I mean? So they almost have two things.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see a lot of props and stuff that come from Muppets 3D that will go in the queue and things like that. And then I've said I would have no problem if they basically just reskinned the ride, the storyline, everything as Muppets.
Yeah.
So you go into the studio, and instead of it being Aerosmith, it's Muppets. But almost the script and everything is pretty much the same, and the storyline is pretty much the same, I think would be super cool.
Yeah.
And it is operating, at least when we just wrote it, this last weekend, it is operating so well right now. With, it closed for a while. And
you got to ride it
a lot.
So how was the last ride?
It was incredible.
The
music was on, which was great. Things are lit so much better.
Okay.
So part of it does expose a bit more of the track, so you can see a bit of the track coming.
Okay.
But it almost does it in a way that it would be like if you had a flashlight. You know what I mean? So it's still not enough that you see a corkscrew coming or a invert or anything like that coming.
Right.
But it really added to it. So I'll be, I can't imagine a lot changing, obviously, with the ride portion once Muppets comes.
Mm-hmm.
You almost don't, you could splatter some paint and change a few colors on these signs and it can fit.
Yeah.
The ride vehicles can get a quick paint job and they fit. You're not going to tear out the entire track and retrack it, I would assume.
I would hope not.
And are you really going to blow out that whole pre-show room that's set up? I think that it lends to being something that's really cool. Look at, all right, Muppets Christmas Carol, right? You had, was it one live actor? Was Michael Caine in it? You had one true live leading part in movie. The rest is Muppets, and people loved it
Right.
because you simply turned regular people into Muppets. So if they do the same thing, I think it'll be a huge hit.
Yeah.
And people that loved the old one, I think, can still love this one and vice versa. So I
Right.
think that part's cool. Also, a little bit of trivia here. The launch propels you from 0 to 57 miles per hour in under 2.8 seconds, which makes it the fastest launch coaster at Walt Disney World.
Oh, that's cool. Even Cosmic now?
I believe its backward launch is slower than that.
Okay.
So I don't know the timing, like the 2.8 seconds is specific
Right.
here. But you also have to think, this has to have that launch to put you directly into
That, yep.
the invert. So that is part of it, whereas Cosmic doesn't have to. Because I think
True.
I think Cosmic goes around 60, but the backwards launch isn't as fast.
Cool.
Speaking of Cosmic Rewind, Rhonda, let's
Mm-hmm.
go over to Epcot. And what's our first ride over there?
Cosmic Rewind.
Welcome, people of Epcot, Epcoters, Epcotians, citizens of Epcot. Does anyone know what they call themselves? What? I'm on? Someone needs to tell me when I'm on. Welcome, Epcot Terrans.
I'll never forget the first time I saw it when Terry Crews did pop up.
Oh, we had no idea.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That was the coolest part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Glenn Close, I feel like I know.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen her in the movies. You've seen her in
Correct.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Correct.
So you know that she exists Now, this ride doesn't exist within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
But
still.
it does.
Correct.
The characters do. So,
Correct.
Yeah, so it's kind of expected to see
So
her.
cool.
But yeah, when he popped up there.
Love it.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And again, this is such a quotable thing. Epcot Terrans and just everything asking up to it. Of course, you have plenty of people that'll yell stuff out, which just, if you're an adult, just don't yell stuff. Like, it's cute when kids do.
But, to be honest, when I first heard it, I thought you were supposed to be 1,000% honest. And I like how, for example, going over to Mickey and Minnie's, where the cast member with Goofy has said, and we've been in there one time, I think, where a cast member
The Cosmic Rewind?
Yes.
They did. There was
sorry.
the one time we went where they started to they had some interaction between screen
Yes.
and, yeah.
And I feel like when we first saw it, and I feel like, yes, that is what you were kind of supposed to do.
Yeah, like you're supposed to answer.
Right.
But I'm going to have to say no.
I know how you feel.
But I'm just saying, if anybody goes in there and if it's their first park they've ever been to at Disney World and their first ride they've gone to, then yes, they might be like, oh, is he asking? We should all yell something. But you're telling me that a regular person goes in there not having ever rode that ride, they see the pre-show, and when he says that, they think, I think we're all supposed to yell something out and answer.
I mean,
right? There's no way. Anybody who
Okay.
yells something out, other than a child, who, yes, a child is going, humans, people, kids, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
But the people that there's not a single person that is an adult that responds to something that did not have it planned in their head prior, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's not just a moment where
my
they
brain
go,
is still a child then.
it could be, yeah. But so that's the thing. It is pre-planned. Anyone who does that. But yeah, so
yeah, I mean now, but I mean when I first went, I really was like, what?
should I answer?
Yeah.
Well, don't. This is, of course, Disney's first reverse launch coaster. It's got that 360-degree spin, which is great because, it puts you where the action is, right?
Mhm.
It's just like a roller coaster omnimover almost. And, okay, I continue to see this stat, and for some reason I still don't believe it, that the show building is so big you could fit 4 Spaceship Earths inside of it.
Like the ball, like the big giant ball.
Yes, you could
Four
fit 4 of those can fit
of those.
fit in the Cosmic
I
Rewind.
don't
show
feel like
building.
that's true.
I don't either, but I've seen it a million times. So it's crazy. We'll see what they do. Monsters, Inc., I believe, is supposed to be, because I think the Cosmic show building is bigger than the Rise show building, I believe. And the
That's
Monsters, Inc. show building will be
insane.
up there. I thought I saw it was going to be somewhere between Cosmic and Rise in size. So it'll be like the second or something in the top 3 biggest show buildings. So And it's great because you would never know it's there because it's painted green and blue, just like the trees in the sky.
Right.
Just blends right in. Nobody would ever notice. All right, let's move on to our next one. This might be my favorite on the whole list.
Oh, and that is soaring around the world.
If smaller aviators don't measure up to the height indicator on the seat, just put the belt through the loop in the center strap before buckling. Nice work, pal.
So did you know, and we learn stuff every time, I think, all flights are designated as Flight 5505. And that's a reference to when it opened in Epcot on May 5th, 2005.
Oh, that's really
It's
cool.
just one of those little details I never picked up on.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Now I want to see what flight we're on and what
I can tell you what flight we're on. It's 5505 because that's what every
That's
flight
really
is.
cool.
And of course you can hear this in Disneyland. You can hear it here with both
him.
soaring around the world and soaring over California. You know,
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, he's Warburton is the best.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Of course, you can hear him over in Star Tours. You can actually hear him as that last droid.
Okay. I can never hear it. Every time I'm there.
It sounds just like him if you can
sound
listen.
just like him.
Because you know who actually does an incredible impersonation is Talon. When we get out of here, he does a Joe Swanson from Family Guy that Patrick Warburton also voices.
Really?
Which is basically his voice. But he does a great job. So he was doing it all through the queue. It was outstanding. But yeah, I mean, this is so good. It's so classic. He's so great. He is touring. Did you know he is a very filthy comedian?
Really?
Yeah, he is. So if you were to see him coming to your town and you thought, I love that guy from Soarin', let's take the kids, don't do it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, in the same way that everybody thought Bob Saget was this clean, American dad because he was on Full House and he was as filthy and dirty as they come. Wow. It's kind of interesting in that way, but yeah, absolutely love him on there. All right. We got one more at Epcot. What is it? And then apparently you were just talking about this the other day, huh?
Yeah. Spaceship Earth.
Remember how easy it was to learn your ABCs? Thank the Phoenicians. They invented them.
Yeah. It was amazing because we were, I don't even know how we got on the subject of basically like talking about like.
Who's we? Because I wasn't there.
Yeah. In Miami, all 6 of us, me, Tina, Cassidy, Alexia, Alex, Lacey, and I. And they started talking about like how like we started talking and then I think it might have been because of Spanish, and then we were just kind of really going back to
how did words come about?
Kind of.
Yeah. I always wonder, like, how did somebody go, that's called sunglasses?
Right. And so it's hysterical because both Lacey and I were like trying to remember Spaceship Earth. And we were like, yeah, the Phoenicians. And even Lacey, like the kids were like, that's not true.
Nobody believed you?
Literally, Tina was like, ask Siri. So I did. And I think I kept saying Venetians, like, because I think that's the way she says it, or that's what my brain hears, unfortunately. But then when I showed her, it's Phoenicians, like faux.
Yeah.
And then that's when Tina goes, oh, like phonics. And then she goes,
exactly.
I guess that's where it came from. And it was just funny because both Lacey and I were like, wait a minute, we learned like, and I mean, that's going back to, when we were young as you and I basically, and when our parents would take us to Epcot and we're like, oh, I don't want to learn. I mean,
it was for learning.
It was, and it was super cool. Yeah. And I think it's cool. And I think it's neat that I can like say things like that. And then I sound smart.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, the attractions were even educational when you had things like Body Wars, and of course, here, there's a lot you can learn about history going through Spaceship Earth. Of course, Spaceship Earth is the giant geosphere. It's not a ball. It is made up of 11,324 silver triangles. They're designed to drain rainwater so that you don't get wet when you're walking underneath.
That is amazing.
It
Because
is.
when it does storm, it's crazy.
Now, the problem in Florida is that the wind has other plans because you can stand under it and get wet when that wind is whipping
100%.
through along with the storms.
But wait a minute. It is a geosphere, but it's still shaped like a ball, correct?
Yeah, it's still shaped like a ball.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to
But don't call it. You can't call it a ball.
I know. I'm
That's-
not.
That's offensive to geospheres.
Okay.
They worked hard to become a geosphere. They're more than just a ball.
Did everyone know that originally, I know they're silver triangles, they were supposed to be gold?
That is crazy. That thing was supposed to be gold.
Yes.
And
We learned that in Geo
82.
82.
Yeah. Because everything in there is accented in gold, and it's beautiful.
It is. And then I said, or no, Jeremy said, and I said this to Lucy when we were there, could you imagine it being gold and everything in Geo 82 being silver and you saying, oh my gosh, it was supposed to be silver?
That would've been ugly. I can't imagine it being
Yeah.
silver because gold is all you would know.
Correct.
But in my mind, if all of a sudden we went to Epcot
And it was
next
a
Friday
gold
and it
ball.
was gold, I would be like, this looks awful. And then 50 years from now, those people would be like, this was silver at one point? That's stupid. All right, let's move on over to Magic Kingdom. We got 3 classics. What is the very first one?
Why not place Carousel of Progress?
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a dream away.
Carousel of Progress is the longest running stage show in American history and the only attraction at Disney World that Walt Disney personally touched from conception to completion.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Do you have an issue with that type of statistic? The longest running stage show in American history? I know that I feel like obviously it's not saying it's like the longest running live stage show, but it is animatronics. Like, I think that's incredible, but I don't think it's as incredible when you consider, Hoop-de-Doo Review has been operating since 1971 with live people, obviously not the same ones from the beginning. Be a very different show at this point. Yeah, there wouldn't be any hooping or duping or reviewing anything. It'd just be a bunch of people up there in walkers or something. But to me, that becomes an impressive statistic, not, hey, we kept animatronics up for this long, which, by the way, there's issues. We experienced when we went. I have heard multiple times since then that there have been major issues with the rotation of the rotating theater and all. I don't know. I don't know how this will tie into eventually. It's got to come after, I think, Piston Peak, Villains, for sure. They've got to do a complete overhaul of Tomorrowland. And I think that has to include Stitch's Great Escape, which has to be torn down because of asbestos, which is going to take part of the people mover with it that they're going to have to change up, right? You've got the what is there? The Auntie Annie's Galactic goodies, right? You've got the store there. All of that and People Mover then comes back around to connect and be part of Carousel of Progress. They're already upgrading Buzz Lightyear, but I wonder if it's a Band-Aid the way that they refurbed and did a bunch to Rock and Roller Coaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't imagine them getting rid of Carousel of Progress.
I can't either.
But I can't imagine it's just going to stay as is for much longer.
Okay.
Unless I don't know. Something has to, I feel like, change it at one point, or they're going to have to just redo so much of like the mechanics and all of it, which again, they would have to figure out, is that worth it?
Right.
If you take the guest nowadays, the average guest, and they go on Carousel of Progress, do they think it should still be there?
I mean, I think it's kind of like Spaceship Earth. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it does show back. I mean, my parents were in one of those ages of, they do have indoor lighting now. I mean, our kids don't even know what a house phone was.
Oh, I know.
I mean, so I think yes. I just don't know what they're able to do. Like, are they able to add a whole nother scene in it,
No.
basically?
No, because you're not with what they have. So you're talking about.
So then would they just
redo
redo the last scene?
The only other option is to possibly input a scene in the beginning, which is, the setup, that is the curtain and the logo in the middle.
Yep.
You'd have to go from some sort of setup outside to walking into your first scene there. Or again, they'd have to reshift, make that the last scene. You know what I'm saying? And you would walk into the turn of the century, the first one. So I don't know what they'll do with it eventually, but I feel like something will have to change at some point.
Yeah,
right?
Which I don't know how I truly feel about it. I think I would be very, very sad.
I don't want it to. Yeah,
I don't either.
And I think it still fits within Tomorrowland regardless of what they do, because as you were saying, it goes through all of that. It goes through all the technologies and getting us to where tomorrow was what we thought at that time. And at any point, they can still turn Tomorrowland into a version, any version they want. They can make Tomorrowland a 1980s version of what we thought this future would look like without having to predict the future now. You know what I mean? And actually have things that we have now and how we came about and all that. So we'll see. Let's move on over to Adventureland.
Your favorite ride.
One of my favorite rides, yeah.
That is the Jungle Cruise.
And I found what you're here for, folks. Welcome to the 8th wonder of the world. The reason you came aboard, the backside of water!
Yeah, that's always fun, and I enjoy it because you enjoy it, to be honest.
Well, I mean, again, you talk about these lines that are so quotable. If you go out and look at, not only shirts that Disney would make, just say, but you have all these incredible, T-shirt companies out there, small businesses that are out there making designs.
Yep.
If you go and you see a Jungle Cruise shirt, I guarantee it says either Backside of Water or Eighth Wonder of the World on it. You know what I mean?
Or O2H, right?
Yeah, or O2H or something like that. So I think when you take something that is just like it's going to go on a shirt, we don't have on here Pirates of the Caribbean, but Dead Man Tell No Tales, right? You're going to see that on so much of the merchandising. It is a classic line, not only from the movies, but then in the ride as well.
Right.
And this, we get the same thing. You get this, which they put into the Jungle Cruise movie. Like, that's one of those things. If we had watched the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock in it, and this wasn't in there specifically, I mean, people would have revolted beyond belief.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
true.
I think when you get to that point, if you have not watched Behind the Attraction, Imagineering Story, those types of things on Disney Plus, they're incredible. You learn so much. Like the Jungle Cruise, the original version in 1955 was completely serious because it was modeled after these true life adventure nature documentaries that Walt Disney was doing at the time. Comedy was added later after guest feedback, and of course that became legendary.
Yes.
Those skippers do, they have some freedom to kind of ad-lib, say things that they want, but a lot of them have kind of that Rolodex of jokes they can pull out at any time. And again, I love this ride, and we've always said because it can be different every time.
Yes, it can.
Even if two different skippers, read or do line by line of the script,
right,
they're going to do it in different ways.
Yes.
And that's the part that I think makes this so cool.
100%. Absolutely.
We got one more. I'll let you take it over here, Rhonda. Your favorite ride.
Because it's my favorite. And we are talking about the Haunted Mansion.
This chamber has no windows and no doors, which offers you this chilling challenge to find a way out.
I look forward to watching the movie, the newest movie with Hatbox Ghost in it. We watch it so many times in the quote unquote spooky season. I just love it. The ride. I mean, when we're in Magic Kingdom, if it's a low wait, I'm like, can we please ride that? That's the one that I think no matter what, every time we're in Magic, I just am like, I want to ride it. I want to ride it.
We'll do it every single time. So it was Kaylin's first chance to get to see the Hatbox Ghost.
Did
she
she
loved
love it?
the Hatbox Ghost, hated the placement, which a lot of people did because Well, a lot of people's complaints. Well, she thinks it takes away from the hallway scene and the candle and all. Personally, is what she thought. But
that
a lot of
makes sense.
the other people's problems, of course, is that it comes. He comes before Madame Leota in the séance. So when she's supposed to be calling, basically all the spirits.
Right.
But I still think. I mean, he's not part of those happy haunts. So I think it's okay if he's before she does the séance. You know what I mean? And that was one thing I thought I saw a response from Disney. I mean, not official. I don't know if it was Imagineer, which people were like, all right, well, all these years, Magic Kingdom has had 999 happy haunts. Does he not make 1,000? But Hatbox is not happy, so he's not a happy haunt.
Correct.
So he doesn't make the 1,000. So in my mind, it is okay for him to be before Leota.
Oh, and I agree.
In our situation.
I agree.
I do think, and I agree with Kaylin, it kind of is just like, where do we put him? There's a space. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that they did work him well enough into the story unless you watch the newest live action where there is a very specific scene of him running down a stretching, well, not running, but him chasing Ben, in a sense, down that stretching hallway. Yeah. So I think it fits in that way, but it has to fit the same way that Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow animatronics now fit within Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I think it's fair. And then one more thing, I guess, to touch on this, a little bit more on a serious topic, because Kaylin actually brought this up. At the end, we're talking, this chamber has no windows and no doors. It offers you these chilling challenges to find a way out. It says, of course, there's always my way. Look up, and there's a person hanging there. Kaylin even just brought up, which has been a lot of topic for discussion, how surprising it is that is still in there.
Which, I mean, but that's the way it's been from the beginning.
It is. Well, here's the thing that I find interesting is because you're certainly going to have people that are going to be very sensitive to that, and that's understandable. It's not far. Yeah. It's not far different now from me going to Cosmic Rewind. It is different, but it's not. And me going to Cosmic Rewind and him saying, does anybody know what people call themselves? Somebody yelling alcoholic. This could certainly be trying for someone who has experiences with suicide or a survivor of suicide or whatever it may be.
I mean,
what I think
you
the crazy
actually
part,
knew somebody as well.
Well, yes. Yeah. But here's what is interesting, because I think so many things, it depends on what the person sees. I don't know why I never saw that in that way. I saw it as the ghost hosts had unalived this person themselves. You know what I'm saying? He's saying there's my way, which is that I will make you a happy haunt. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that for a lot of people that might not be the way that they took it, because now I see it differently.
Because of the way Kaylin pointed it out.
Well, it had been pointed out to me prior to that. But yeah, it's one of those things I find interesting. They removed the axe from Constance's hands in the attic in Disneyland. I imagine it's going to come to Disney World. I do think there's still minor touches like that they continue to make. I'm just interested to see if this one changes at some point.
Right. I mean, what were we talking about recently with Tina and I think it was...
No, it was Lucy and Caleb.
Lucy and Caleb,
yeah,
that's right.
Jock and Lindsay's.
Yes.
What did they say? They said there's a statistic. Well, they had heard a statistic. It was, what was it, 1 in every 9 or 1 in 12 or something? People that you come across...
you pass, just has...
unalived someone.
Yeah.
Whether it was intentional or not.
It's a family show,
Yeah,
guys.
and then we started looking up statistics, and it might be worse than that.
And then we were like... We thought just bad, but you think of doctors and you think of all the Navy and all the
all military.
Military. That's what I was trying to say.
Accidents, whatever. But it's going to be one of those things in the end that Disney has to weigh benefits of keeping something like that and benefits of taking it away. It's simply, and so they'll figure that at some point. I guarantee a conversation has happened behind closed doors.
Oh, I'm sure.
About that specifically.
I'm sure.
Along probably with many of other things, though.
Yep.
So we'll see. But these, of course, are some of our favorites.
Yep.
There are so many more. We
Yes,
could easily do a top 10 from probably every single park. But we wanted to get kind of all the parks involved. And these are definitely some of our favorites.
Yes.
So
They are.
We got a lot of good stuff coming up, of course. We are going down this weekend. We're going to go ahead and check out Starlight, the new nighttime parade that soft opened and turned the Magic Kingdom and reservations into mayhem. But it is officially open tonight as we're recording. Is it official opening? So we're going to go check that out. We're going to go ahead and give the new Test Track 3.0 a ride because we did not get a chance to do pass holder previews. That is opening up this week on July 22nd. And, of course, a whole bunch more. So hit subscribe and get brand new episodes every single Tuesday and Friday. And then finally, Rhonda and myself would be super duper thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got, and we'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home.